when you're a kid, you think the universe revolves around you. You think that you'll always be protected and cared for. Then, one day, you realize that's not true. Because when you're alone as a kid, the monsters see you as weaker. You don't even know they're getting closer. Till it's too late. Here. Take it.
Alright, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Grapevine Movie Reviews, where we only review the movies that we haven't seen. If you haven't been with us before, the way that we do these reviews is a group of us go see a movie, one of us doesn't see it, we get together, have a discussion, and the person that doesn't see it can ask questions, try to figure out whether or not they want to go see it. Now, this week we're doing a movie called It. But before we get into that, let's all introduce ourselves. I'm Matt.
I'm Yash.
Andrew.
Mariana.
Michael.
Tyler.
Yep, Big Ty's joining us today for a special guest appearance because he worked on the movie.
I did.
The movie It.
I did.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember you from the trailer.
I was in the promotional video in the background.
It's crazy what they do with CGI.
Yeah.
So yes, this week it's Yash that hasn't seen the movie It.
I haven't seen it.
So we're going to do what we do usually. One of us is going to do a brief little synopsis of it. Let's go, Michael. You usually do a good job with these. Just brief synopsis of what the movie's about.
Quick and dirty. It is really a coming-of-age tale about this group of kids that they're call themselves the losers. They come together because they're all sort of picked on and bullied in the town of Derry, and they face off against a supernatural fear demon that takes the shape of a clown.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
I know, right?
Fear demon.
And it takes place in the 80s.
Yes. It's 1989, I believe, right?
Does it ever state it?
I believe it says 89.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because it
news
definitely
articles
feels
and stuff,
80s,
like-
but yeah, probably news
And like
articles
the
imply
band
it.
that one of the kids likes, like it's
I mean,
very.
and of course the clothes and the bell bottoms.
Yeah.
Bell bottom.
Because it felt very 80s, yeah. I just didn't know if it ever stated it, but yeah, definitely news articles.
Question for Yash and some of the younger viewers. I'm a little bit older than most of you guys. Have you seen the original?
No, I haven't. But I recently did started listening to the audiobook.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, a little.
So I think Andy might be the only person that... I think I've seen parts of the original TV movie that they did. I haven't seen the whole thing. I think Andy's the only person that's seen like the whole thing.
I was not allowed to watch it as a kid.
Oh, okay.
And it played on TV. My mother immediately turned it off. And I never watched it as an adult because I had no interest in
So is it related to that?
It's a
remake,
It's a remake.
This is basically a remake,
Of the
yeah.
book.
I mean, there's differences.
Differences.
but
There's
Yeah.
differences.
Yeah, and the biggest key is this first movie follows just the children. It's just their story. The first encounter with it. The original made for TV.
It's more short stories in the
It's
other
both,
one.
yeah, and as well in the book, it
Right.
flashbacks.
The TV movie
Flash
adapted
forward,
both parts of the book because it was actually a 2-part miniseries.
Yes.
Right.
So it did the kids and then the adults. This one, we're doing one movie for the kids, and then It 2 is going to be...
Right.
Which also was a part of the movie that... It's not a part of the movie I didn't like, but my movie-going experience that kind of pissed me off is I was in the theater, and there's a point where it ends with as kids, and then when it comes back, it says It. Part 1 or Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
And then there's a guy like, sitting near me, and he's like, "Yep, see, I knew they were going to do the adults. You have to do the adults." And I was like, "Yeah, you're the only person that knew that, buddy. Shut up." He thought he's so smart, too. You have to do the adults.
Okay, so going into this, why the hell is this movie so hyped up? Like like I've never seen this before, where a movie is everyone's so excited to see it. What is this? Does this live up to that?
I think,
I think it's the #1 trailer. Like,
No,
this
what-
whole
no,
It was
summer?
the
number
number one
one- so it's
trailer viewed in one day, right? Something like that?
I don't know, but I know it's also it broke records for the #1 R-rated opening for a weekend
All
ever.
time?
I believe, yeah, it beat Deadpool.
Okay.
It is now, without inflation, it's now made the most money of any horror movie or R-rated movie. Without inflation, though.
Okay.
With inflation, Exorcist
Exorcist is still number one and like $1 billion or some shit.
Okay, so to answer Yash's question as to why it was so hyped up, I think it's a combination of like nostalgia, no matter how campy or again, I haven't watched the original movie, but apparently the kids stuff is really good and then the adult stuff is crappy. But it's very nostalgic, and Tim Curry's performance as Pennywise is like
Renowned.
Iconic as
Very well.
so I think it's a combination of that also because clowns have come back in pop culture as this horror figure, not anymore as a kid's entertainment, but like as an adult fear. So I think it's a combination of both of those things, and also I guess like Stranger Things made 80s kids horror a popular thing, and I think that brings also like it is kind of reminds people of Stranger Things.
Well, there's one of the actors is from
and one of the actors is in it,
and he's fantastic.
I also think a huge thing is
oh my god!
So I do think
he's actually my favorite.
What's his name? Help me out here.
So I think a huge
the actor Finn Wolfhard, he plays Richie.
Richie, yeah.
I've seen.
I think a huge thing about to piggyback off all that. Another big thing about it was just the timing of it. I think it came out at the right time.
Yeah, just like how Jurassic World as well, that came out at the right time for people, because that blew up too.
Really? I don't remember that.
That movie blew up. It beat I don't think it beat Avatar, but it became one of the biggest movie releases of all time or something. And I think it's timing, the nostalgia. You got the parents who grew up watching Jurassic Park telling their kids about it. So now you get both of them watching it. Now this is a bit of an R-rated version, but you have the people who saw the original and loved it, again, nostalgia, and now you got us who want something horror, R-rated, sort of deal. It's a bigger audience than you think.
And it came out at a time that's basically unopposed as well. Like basically
Unopposed.
September. Like,
there's nothing.
What else came out in the 2-3 weeks after that movie?
September, I thought.
It was a week September, and it came out right after kind of a week August too.
Yeah,
where there wasn't anything really huge. It kind of found its niche, as this place to go.
It
right
perfectly
over time.
came out at the right time. Like,
where everyone was just waiting for something to see. Everyone wanted to see something.
Released around the same time as Home Again.
Yeah.
So really and truly, it's not really. That's no competition.
Exactly.
The other thing that no one touched on is the fact that it's Stephen King.
Yeah.
It's one of Stephen King's best works. And
that's true, yeah.
And since people didn't really love Dark Tower, I think the people that followed his work were waiting for this. Especially since, just like everyone touched on, the nostalgic aspect of it as well. Like, I was so excited to see this because this was the movie. This was the movie that started my horror movie love. I saw it when I was 10 years old. I saw it when it first came out. And we snuck out, I remember, and watched it behind my parents' back when they were in bed.
All right.
And I feel like everyone, even if you haven't read the book or seen the first one or even seen this one, everyone knows the Georgie scene. Everyone knows the boat running through, and the drain, and the clown coming out.
So
like everyone knows
that.
This
and you forget Pennywise.
I said the clown.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to what you guys love about this movie. Like, what are some of your favorite ones? Do you guys have the same ones? You don't have to repeat them.
Honestly, my favorite thing, like I have to boil it down to. I hated Georgie, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
my favorite thing, I guess, I have to boil it down to a single scene or like moment, or like single things that were happening in the movie. I really loved all the New Kids on the Block references that they did in it, which I thought were really fun and just like it was really cute and kind of fun. But like honestly, the biggest thing that I loved about the movie is just like the camaraderie of these kids coming together.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that I'm a huge sucker for coming of age stories. I love any story of like a kid, overcoming their fear, or they're going into high school, or they're going now, they're high school kids going into college. I just love that whole new experiences, putting together your friend group and like trying to figure out how to get through just being a kid. Those are my favorite kinds of movies.
Trying to stay spoiler free. I loved the chemistry of the kids. And I loved Skarsgård's interpretation of Pennywise. Yeah. I believed he used it in more of a puppet. Pennywise looked more of a puppet of the creature. And it's kind of with his movements and his dialogue. And like there's sometimes he's just creepy and he's staring off and like he forgets where he is, or the way like how he lumbers around. It definitely shows him like that. And I thought it was fantastic. I thought he did a fantastic job creating his own
and that's kind of what it
Pennywise.
is. Like even from the books, it's like Michael said. It's like this fear demon that knows what you hate, and he attacks on that. So yeah.
And when you get to the part of the book when you really find out what it is, it's more than just a fear.
Oh, really?
What is it? Just very gnarly.
No, I don't want to know.
Yeah,
right.
so go on.
Cool, alright, never mind.
That's chapter 2 stuff.
Right.
For me, very much like Matt and Tyler, it's the kids. This is a very good coming of age movie. To the point where I think what we're going to be talking about later is as a horror movie, that's almost like a side. The main entree here is coming of age with a side of horror, you know, and I love the way they handled bullying in this film. They didn't pull any punches. It is really, really dark and just brutal bullying. Like Matt doesn't love the bully. He's making eyes at me right now, but I like how cruel the bullies are in this movie. They're doing stuff to these kids where, especially in the past, this was what bullying really was it was physical and people actually getting hurt. Mm-hmm. And I think you still have that a little bit nowadays, but probably not as much. Rougher neighborhoods. You'll still see it.
It's
more psychological.
Psychological bullying.
Like this is that like you'll get punched in the face, and they have a rock fight in the movie. That's straight from the book. They just straight up just throw rocks at each other. Like yeah,
like just bullies throw like.
It's both sides. It's bullies versus losers.
It's like dodgeball, but with rocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no one's having fun. I think my favorite parts were, I guess, like it kind of reminded me of Stands By Me, where where the kids were going off, and it was all revolving around this like horror experience, whereas Stand By Me, it was a dead body, but it wasn't horror.
Yeah.
But in this one, and also, I kind of liked how in not all the characters, but for some of them, you saw their backstory and how it related to their fear. Everything that they show is directly related to their fears. Like, for example, with Beverly, she has a horrible home life. So, and the only reason we see that is because that's directly related to her fear. Like, yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember her fear. I don't remember what the demon manifested in her fear.
Her father.
Well, I thought it was more her becoming a woman.
Yeah.
That's what she was afraid of.
Yeah, but that's because her father would see her differently. And then,
I guess
the guy who's afraid of what's that disease called?
He's just a hypochondriac. He's
but
Pennywise appears as a leper.
A leper. But we see his home life because his mom has basically raised him to be hypochondriac, and that relates to his fear. And we don't see I think we see a brief second of Bill's. Is it Bill?
Yeah. So everything's contained and related. Yeah,
everything.
And it's a very
Bill's is because of Georgie, so we don't need to see his parents. We see a brief moment. But
Bill's the older brother, right?
Yeah, Bill's Georgie's older brother. But
Bill.
And so I liked how we everything that they showed was related to their fear, and we didn't see like useless backstory. But in some cases, like it didn't. Like I would have liked to see more developed characters. But as for like Beverly, Bill, and the hypochondriac kid, which I don't remember his name. I liked how their backstory was related.
Hypochondriac is Eddie.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it holds a little bit of a different feeling in my heart because of the fact that I've seen the original. And I will say that I agree with everything that was said about the children. The children are definitely the best. But I will go another way, and I will say that I love the fact that it was all about the kids. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, did you watch it with your son?
No, because I wanted him to see the first one first.
Okay.
But
Has he seen it?
I will bring him to that.
Okay.
I will bring him to this one.
Sorry.
Because I feel like after I've seen it now, I don't think it's adult enough. I don't think it's bad enough.
I got the impression while watching it. I was like, you know what? This wouldn't be a bad one for like a child's first horror movie. Right. If you wanted to sit down and watch it with them, not like send them on their own, but like it's
an R-rated movie, but it's a kids R-rated.
It's not a kids R-rated movie, but it's not like you don't see gratuitous nudity. You don't see gratuitous violence and blood and gore. So it's not something that he's going to be traumatized for. Like if I
Exactly.
think
Yeah, and most
Saving
of the-
Private Ryan and the guy's getting shot with a machine gun, and that's real. That's something that happened in history. Like something seen like that.
Yeah.
Like he can relate that this is a clown. Like he's seen, he's watched, Civil War. To me, that violence in that is equivalent to the violence in this. Like that's what I would
Just
say.
a clown eating a kid. That's not.
No, but
It's not really.
the R is more to do with the swearing. But at that point, like, I think in the movie the kids are 15?
Right.
14, 15?
I swear.
And I'm saying at that point you've heard every single swear word at school,
Right.
Like, but and I'm glad that they kept in the swearing because that's how kids talk to each other. They don't have
Exactly.
filter.
They talk
I
like
enjoy
kids.
when a movie has kids swearing as we as kids swore.
Right.
But the downside from that is that a lot of kids who might benefit from seeing this coming of age story can't see it legally. Obviously, they'll sneak in and they'll see it when it comes at home. But they can't see it because of, like, I think there's, like, a couple moments to blood, but it's not gratuitous, like Andy said. But
I mean,
no, but
one scene in particular.
Yes, in the bathroom.
Oh,
But-
yeah, no, but I'm saying that wasn't gratuitous to the point.
But it's not a person
It's
bleeding, so
it's
it's
symbolic,
not.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
symbolic.
symbolic blood.
It's
It was
symbolic.
done
It's
for a
symbolic.
reason.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, you don't see a scene where somebody's being pulled apart and, like, their guts fall out. Like,
Really, you don't see that.
no.
It's
So,
not
like,
that violent of a movie.
it's not that violent
It's
of a
more
movie.
like
It's-
the themes that are dark, I'd say.
And just
Yeah.
like Michael said, it's more of a coming of age movie, and the horror and the clown is second. Like story 1A and story 1B. Like it's more about the children, and that's what I like because in the original, just like Tyler I think had brought up, it's a mix of the adults referring back to times where they were children, and then that's what the movie shows of the children. Mm-hmm. So in this one, the actors of the adults weren't as good as the kids. Like if they had cut out the adult part, it would have been perfect
In this new one.
in the original.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's why I'm glad that they didn't do that with this one.
Yeah.
They
So-
just did the kids, and that's what made it good for me. I like just the kids.
Because
They didn't
Fear for the most part, it's really well done in first person. Like, you can't really do it in flashbacks and be like, because we know, like, they're still here. They're alive.
Yeah, you're
Right.
seeing the flashback. You're gonna make it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Alright, so...
I guess.
Why do you
It's
hate
a good-
Georgie, Matt? I want to know.
Why do I hate
Because he's a
Georgie?
bad person.
Because Georgie is a stupid idiot. That's why I hate
He's 6. He's
He's
supposed to be
a stupid
stupid.
idiot 6-year-old. Is what I'm saying.
That's
He's a
part of the
stupid
fear.
idiot.
Is if
You've never
anything, you
played
would
the
make your
phone.
parents would watch this and realize, oh my god, my kid is that stupid.
Let me just go to the
Alright,
reasons
let
why I
us-
hated Georgie in this movie, and I just can't get past it. It's just me. I'm not telling you guys to hate Georgie. I'm just telling you that I hate Georgie. One, it's a storm outside. It's raining like craziness. If I was a kid, I'd be like, I don't want to go play. I'm going to play inside with my brother Bill while he's sick in his room.
I
We can
love
play
the
board
rain.
games.
As a
I'm not
kid,
going out in the
I
rain.
was-
I'm not going out in the rain. I'm going to wait till tomorrow when it's not raining. Nope.
Kids steer right to the puddle.
All right,
Yeah.
You have to
Max-
tell them not to.
As an adult, I will hop into a puddle.
I never would have done that. That's just not who I am. Yes, it wasn't. I was just. Listen, I identify with Eddie because me and Eddie are boys.
Who's Eddie?
Eddie's
The
a
hypochondriac.
He's a hypochondriac kid. He's afraid of everything that's dangerous.
Okay,
And I'm like,
okay.
yeah, that's what you should. That's what you should live
Uh-huh.
with. Be afraid of things that are dangerous because they can kill you.
But he's
Eddie's not
afraid of
gonna kidnap.
everything.
Huh?
He's afraid of everything, and it
No,
just
no,
so
no.
happens that
Eddie's
some of them
perfect.
are scary things.
We'll get into that later. Anyway, Georgie goes outside, plays in the rain like a freaking idiot. And then he's running.
You mean
over-
like a kid?
No, like a stupid idiot.
Go
Then
on.
he's following this boat down the road, and he ends up running into a street sign like a stupid idiot. He sees the two signs there, ducks under one, runs
He's
into the
looking
boat, hits
head
his
down.
head.
He's got a hood on. He's got a
No.
hat.
I think you should be able to see
This
both
is
of them.
you're pulling at
He
straws. here,
He
man.
missed the first one, then he hits the second one like an idiot. Come on.
I think it's because
Head
he's
on
at
shoulders.
eye level with
Yes.
it, so he doesn't see the second one because his
Yeah.
eyes are at the same level.
Making
That's how I
excuses for
feel.
Georgie.
Next.
I don't care that he's
Size is
6.
that low that a 6-year-old. It's eye level with a 6-year-old.
I don't care that he's 6. You need to be smarter than that. You need to be more aware of your surroundings and not run into a sign. So then he gets to the sewer. The boat goes in. I'm already out of it when he goes, oh no, the boat went to the sewer. Bill's going to kill me. No, he's not. The boat costs like 30 cents. You can go back and get him to make another one. It's not a big deal. You can just go home.
But he made it for Georgie.
Okay,
yeah,
it's called sentimental value.
I can make another one for Georgie.
It's a freaking
Now, one
It's a paper boat.
All right, 1 second, Matt. 1 second. In the original and in the book, they didn't really play too much in this. Is Bill is the older brother?
Yes.
Bill is like an older brother in the traditional sense of the word. Like, I'll beat on my younger brother. Like, you're stupid.
But I love you. But I still love you.
But I love you. But with love.
Okay.
Like
that
how I treated you when you were younger.
And that was and if that was what it was presented as, it would make more sense. But what they showed me in this movie was Bill being like, I'm sick, but I'm doing this nice thing for you.
No,
All right,
it
have fun,
wasn't
Georgie.
like- it
I'm going to
wasn't
ruffle your
supposed to
hair.
be like
Have a
that.
good time.
No,
It was
it's
more
not.
like-
Why would he be afraid of this brother? His brother's the
my
nicest
brother
kid in the
was
world.
super nice to me too, but I'd always be afraid to because we played together, and like I'd always be afraid to like let him down. When he learned to ride the bike for it, like I want to be able to keep up with I don't want him to be like, oh,
That's true, too.
You're not letting him down. You lost a paper boat. He'll
not
make you another
to
paper
the
boat.
kid.
It's not a big deal.
You want to
It's not a
be the
big deal.
same.
You're not in touch with your inner child.
Then he encounters the clown in the sewer. That clown is creepy as shit from the first second I saw him. Like,
he's drooling from his mouth.
from his mouth. He has like, these weird twitches that he's doing, and I'm like, kid, run the fuck away from this clown. This clown's
Yeah, but
scary
you're
as hell.
seeing this as a 27-year-old.
Yes,
Right.
sure.
Not as a 6-year-old.
And also, there wasn't that.
I can battle that with when I was a child, I used to have a paper route. I used to go deliver papers. And there was a day, it was around Christmas time, where this man came up from his house and said, you know, you've been delivering papers all year.
So, no,
Here,
the house is
have
crazy,
this piece
not
of
getting
have this
papers.
piece of candy from me. And he gave me a piece of candy. I threw that shit in the snow. I didn't even touch it. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't trust this man and this candy he's giving me for Christmas. I don't care that it is Christmas and it's probably fine candy. I don't trust you. I don't know you.
I
I just
feel
deliver
about
papers to your
Halloween.
house. I just don't trust you. And like that was me as a kid. That's me as a kid. I don't trust people I don't know, especially a weird clown in a sewer grate that has
Well,
no
that's not
explanation for how he got
the
down there.
So we can get past the fact that you wouldn't have done that.
Not just that.
He was being very. He was saying,
He was
"Look,
no-
there's lots of balloons and Ferris wheels and rides down here."
Okay,
the kid doesn't know where the sewer goes. It could lead to another place.
The
That
circus
could bring-
blew away, Matt.
Okay, no. The problem
Yeah, they
is
say
the problem
The
is
whole thing.
the problem is I didn't find this clown to be charming in the way that I thought the Tim Curry version was charming.
It was.
He was fun and he talked like he had a weird voice, like he sounded like he was a cartoon dog. And that was fun. This one looked creepy and was weird and was like, I don't know if I trust this clown. At least Tim Curry had some whimsy behind him. And okay, I could see why the kid in the old TV version would be enticed by this whimsical, charismatic, fun clown. This clown was like, hey there, Josie.
No.
How you doing?
Okay.
Hey, come over here. Doing these weird twitching noises. I'm like, why are you cracking this clown? Get away, run away. So, and again, my main thing about Georgie always comes down to this. He's a stupid idiot.
6.
I don't have a problem. I don't have an issue with him. In fact, I think that Pennywise did that family a favor because Georgie was going to die running into traffic one day, chasing a bus or something.
Oh
He's going to get
my
hit by a car. He was going to die eventually because he's a stupid kid. And it's
we
fine.
are very sorry for this. Tyler, go next.
Alright, no, I want to ask you.
Yeah, ask again.
Alright, so you guys talked about the coming of age aspect of this movie a lot. Like, what about the horror aspect of it? Like, what horror moments in this movie are just visceral and?
Well,
are there any?
okay, so just coming with watching the horror part, and it kind of ties into one thing I thought was a bit weak, and I thought part of it was maybe there was too many kids because each kid had their own fear, and each fear had its own entity that it became.
Oh,
and
so it wasn't just the clown.
No, so there was different. Each kid had its own thing, and they saw it how they interpreted it because in touch with their fears. But there are 7 of them. So it went cut from one kid, saw fear, and then narrowly escaped. Next kid saw their fear, narrowly escaped. It did that 7 times.
Oh my god.
Then it kind of went back, and it was another encounter.
Not
Then they all.
horribly done.
It wasn't.
I
It wasn't
agree
horrible.
that-
After the 5th one, I was like, "Oh, we're still doing it." Like, okay,
You're
but they were all nicely done. Actually, very creepy or eerie. There's definitely eerie senses to it. Like, it wasn't like I wasn't like looking through my fingers terrified, but I was like, this is cool, this is neat, and they're all very different. But there was too many of them.
I did a little sneak peek of this movie, and I saw something. I think what you're describing. It was like at a butcher shop where there's this guy. He's running away from some guys, and then he peeks, and there's like some creepy shit going on in the butcher shop.
Well, that's part of the...
It's kind of like that, and then each one has their own sort of encounter.
Well, again, there was another one of my issues with the movie, beyond Georgie. Georgie's just a little pet peeve. But, like, one of my issues... Not an issue, but it's just, like, a thing that I didn't love about the movie is that again, as a person that loves coming-of-age stories, I was enjoying all the coming-of-age stuff, the camaraderie between the kids, all the fun jumping in the lake and the swimming in the quarry. I loved all that stuff. And I just felt... I just felt myself getting annoyed every time I would go back to being a horror movie. I'm like, why is there a horror movie in between my coming of age movie that I'm enjoying?
I thought it was balanced quite well.
I thought it was balanced quite well.
What I'll say to that point is, I think the horror in this movie informs the coming of age, and that's why I think it works. I think people who go into it wanting number one on their list to like have this movie that scares them, I don't think it's going to do that for them. It's got its moments. Maybe they'll peek around corners at night. But for the most part, I think the horror in this movie is a tool in order to, make that coming of age work even better. It's a lot of these... The fact that we're dealing with their fears in the horror section, it enhances when they sort of grow to... conquer their fears, and that's the coming of age goodness.
And that's the kind of the thing. Like when you watch a horror movie, and you go into something, and it's something else. It's a coming of age movie. You let your guard down a bit. You're like, this is something else, and you open up to the horror aspects of it even more so than you would have with your.
Yeah. I don't think this movie's scary at all.
Oh,
fear is subjective, so it's going to be person to person. But I purposefully brought my friend Josh to this movie because, in my opinion, he's weak. He's weak.
Does he have a fear of clowns?
And he told me he did. I think he lied because he wanted me to visit him. But that's besides the point. He doesn't like scary stuff. He didn't have a problem with this movie at all.
And I went to see it with my partner, and she cannot watch anything scary, else she will not be able to sleep for days. And she walked out of it like, yeah, it was okay. Okay in terms of horror. She loved the movie, but she was like, in terms of horror, I can sleep tonight. Yeah. We don't have to keep all the lights on. Yeah. Right? So,
yeah.
But in the end, that's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing.
Absolutely not.
I think
it's
the
still
horror
a
works
good movie.
I agree with Michael where he said that the horror informs the coming of age story stuff. It's just like all the fun coming of age story stuff is stuff that I really loved. And that's like,
and in terms of pacing, it does have that sort of segmented, like, here's a horror part, here's a coming of age, here's a horror.
And it was weird.
And despite them informing each other, I can see if you're enjoying the coming of age more, I agree.
It wasn't weirdly segmented.
I don't know. I just like how it goes. Like, so one of the kids sees a thing at his synagogue. Then they're out the quarry and they're swimming. Then after the quarry scene, this kid's walking home and he sees a leper. Now they're going to do another coming of age thing. Now this kid's walking home by himself and he sees it too.
Well,
and that's how it kept on going for me.
If we're talking negatives,
you don't need to see it.
It's over 2 hours.
Yeah,
which is weird for a horror movie.
Rightfully so, because
there's a lot of content.
It's supposed to be a very long movie. It was a 2-part miniseries, and each part was 1 hour and 45 minutes.
And it's a huge book,
right? So it's a huge book.
Yeah, like the audiobook's like almost 50.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's insane.
But we're talking negatives right here. Tyler mentioned it. There are too many kids. And I say that not because I didn't enjoy some of them, but some of them are just wasted.
Right.
It's true.
Because Stan, number one, he's the Jewish kid.
No, we need him in the movie, and I'll tell you why. Because you need to see the original.
Yeah, I've heard this too, but they didn't show him properly.
That's the thing. Within the context of this movie, he's the weakest member. Absolutely.
And there's a reason for that.
And it's interesting. Like, I feel his contribution to the movie is to have like a couple scares because he's afraid of this painting in his dad's office. Because
Tony Kidd, he has his own segment.
Yeah. I think that's the only purpose for him. And
Also,
you know.
the hypochondriac guy was pretty useful.
No. He's the best kid. He was the best kid.
I thought he was my favorite kid.
He's the best kid in the whole movie.
Him and Richie together. Oh,
Him
man.
and Richie were perfect.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, because you can look at some of these kids, like, what part of the movie did they more benefit, you know? I think Stan doesn't really benefit either, but he benefits the horror a little bit more. Richie and Eddie, they are just... when they're together in that group of kids...
Worth just the price of the admission.
Something we haven't mentioned, Yash, this movie is funny. It is so much funnier than I ever expected it to be. I was just laughing constantly.
Like at it or
no, with it.
With it. It's a funny movie
moments.
because it is like a group of kids acting like kids, and there are some just gem lines.
One more thing about one of the weaknesses, the main bully in it. I felt it needed to be a little bit more fleshed out more on why he was the way he was.
Because
I think
that to me is crucial to why he's so vicious in his relentless.
But for a movie like that, you might not need it. It's just, he's the villain. He's a bad guy.
They played on it a little bit when his dad saw the
I think you got it immediately when you saw his dad.
Right.
I think up to that point, you were like, why is this kid such a terrible human? You meet his dad and you're like, there's the reason. Right. And I think that works in a lot of ways. I think the parents in this movie, you see them rubbing off on their kids all in negative ways.
Right.
It's this sort of, the parents are this sort of negative emotion in their head.
I just didn't know, I couldn't tell who his dad was until it was like that reveal, though. That's the thing, you know?
I think that was the point.
Yeah.
I called that was his dad when they were first up to school, but I think it was supposed to be a reveal at that moment.
All right.
What's your weakness then?
Okay.
For the movie.
So I'll start my weakness by like explaining what I liked. Is that I thought what worked the best, not so much as a horror, but like getting you scared for a character, would be Beverly, because that's the one that felt the most personal. Like her dad is kind of like you don't see it, but he's awful, and awful, you assume. And sometimes it's like, you don't see it, but like, he's sexually abusing her. And it's like psychological, and
I heard you see it. I heard you
see it. And he has his mannerisms in his body.
Right.
By the way, that actor is actually such a really nice guy. He's a great guy. Just want to point that out. He is.
Why would he take that role then?
But yeah, so that made me like, I was scared for her. And then when it is manifesting himself to her, it's like why she put in even more pain, which is why I felt bad for her as a character. And I liked the fact that she was pulled into the story. On the other hand, is that anything else that was scary, for example, the painting or the lupus things, is that wasn't as effective to me. It's because I get this is what they were scared of, but like I wasn't interested in their fear. And like the scares itself wasn't scary for me. It was just like this scary image followed by jump scare.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, her fear is more real.
Yeah, her fear was manifested, developed,
and I think she got more time.
So other ones were like childlike fears.
Yeah,
the Georgie one is a pretty damning fear.
Yeah, no, that was another one.
He sent his brother out to play when he was supposed to be watching him. The parents had left for the day, and he feels responsible for Georgie's death.
That's one of the reasons why it's even worse. The mom was playing piano. The mom was just playing piano in the living room and let Georgie go outside.
But that was another one, is that Bill, whether or not it was the case, Bill felt responsible for Georgie's death. And so when he sees Georgie, or when it manifests himself, it's, again, I wasn't scared, but I felt more attached to those characters, and I was scared for the characters. Mm-hmm. And so, in that way, I think it worked more as a thriller than it did as a horror. But then again, like they mentioned, there's 7 kids. It's not enough for me to care about 2 characters' fear and be on the other ones.
There's an elephant in the room. I need to... this movie is vaguely racist. I have to...
It was based on the 80s.
No. That's not why it's vaguely racist. I'm saying the movie as an entity is racist. In its own little ways. One, the black kid, Mike. They gave his storyline to the chubby kid, Ben. They just gave it to him. His entire, in the original movie and in the book, Mike is the historian of the town. He's the one that goes back and looks at the history of the town. And they're basically like, yeah, but does this black kid really need a story? I think this white kid that's already involved in a love triangle that already has his own thing going on, I think we need to give him more stuff. Let's take the black kid story and give it to that kid. And that on its own wouldn't be super bad. It's like, it's not the worst thing ever. But then, there's a point later in the movie where the bullies are picking on the black kid. And they're saying, we told you not to come to our town. And like, they're beating him up. And it's obviously because he's black. But they never have the kids, like, be racist to him. So then I'm like, then why? Yeah, now you're tiptoeing around the racism.
And it's rated R, so they can do that.
They could have just called him the N-word and like, kicked him up and said, get out of town, black kid. And like, that never happened.
That scene was done in front of a store shop. And they actually said it.
Yeah, and I think that works. I think that works better.
N-word. They said it openly. And I think that right now in today's climate and everything that's going on with the kneeling and the protesting and the this and that, it's not a good time to say that. It's just not. I think they probably cut it out.
I would disagree.
That's very man. So much hits the cutting room floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it works better if they're racist because it makes us hate them more.
Yeah,
I was able to tell they were racist.
I know, but you're tiptoeing around it now. Like, at least just make them be.
I feel like racist. It wasn't they were tiptoeing. I wasn't shoved in my face.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about showing face. It's about showing realism.
Yeah, like just
they would never tiptoe around that in real life. So why would they tiptoe around that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't need to be super crazy. I just like maybe have one of the kids say, "Hey, I told you not to come to our town." N-word to kick him in the head, and you're like, okay, I get it, they're racist.
Well,
and it's the fine.
Well, it's the fact that the bullies only bully people from their school, and they never see this.
I'm with Matt,
I'm agreeing to his point. And I'm saying it's because he doesn't even go to their school, they have no interaction, and they see this black kid in the street,
so
and
they're
like,
even more reason why you
and I'm saying that's the reason.
Yeah.
But then don't tiptoe around it. They should say it, though, because now you're putting a happy face on racism.
He's homeschooled, right? Yeah, he lives,
but now you're just putting like a happy face on racism that people who are racist go like, oh, see, this not racism isn't that bad. They didn't call him the N-word or anything. I'm like, no, racism is really bad. Like they're beating him up because he's black. That's it. And now you're giving a leeway to some racist person to be like, see, they're just beating him up because they don't like him. I'm like, no, they're racist.
We're gonna agree to disagree on that one again. Again.
I think Tyler said that character could have been left out and it would have been fine. Like,
but he's vital to the books and to the original.
But in the movie, we're talking about the movie. Mike didn't have to be
exactly. Right. Yeah, because they took his storyline and gave it to Ben.
Yeah, but
the story and gave it to Ben.
His storyline was he's a farm kid. He works on the farm with his family. And then how is he all... It just seems weird that he's also a historian.
No, he's getting
stories from his grandparents.
Oh, okay. So alright, then yeah.
So if you watch the original, they flesh out his character.
Okay, I was imagining the chubby kid is replaced and he goes to the library and says,
no.
That makes sense.
I think they just wanted to have a library.
His grandfather was there originally, 27 years prior, when it came. Yeah. And it is the reason why his parents died.
Oh, okay. So he was... Yeah.
So he like when he was old enough to know how his parents died, he just knew that they died in a fire.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But then his grandfather, when he was older, said, "There's been some crazy shit that's been going on.
Dairy,
I've been documenting, and this is actually the reason why.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't let you go to school, and that's why I don't let you hang around with those people because they're all going to be doomed. You stay over here in the farm and you live."
And all that all of that gets kind of undercut because you say, I want Ben to have more scenes where he's at the library.
But I don't think
that's not the case.
I don't think that's what it is. No, it's not. I don't think it's because I don't think it's. That's why I don't mean that they did it because he's black. I'm saying they did it because they wanted to give Ben more scenes, and they thought it was easier to just take away Mike's scenes and give them to Ben.
Well, really,
which is I think
Ben
is kind of
irrelevant to the story because
not really. He has his own thing with this love triangle, which is fine.
Right, but is it really a love triangle? Because he loves her, she doesn't love him.
She at least likes him.
To speak on that, and I think we should do this next. Who's everyone's favorite kid? Ben was probably my favorite kid.
And
I really liked him.
The most charming.
Ben is the
I love.
He's the fatty.
The new kids on the block references with him.
Yeah,
I love.
Maybe he was the strongest performer. They thought gave him the strongest scenes.
Exactly.
That's all it could have been.
He could have
been something harmless like that.
Sure, but I just feel
he was really good.
I'm not disagreeing. I thought all of them did a great job. I feel weird about taking the only storyline that this black kid had and giving it to a white kid, and then being like, you don't get to do anything in this movie, black kid, except be a tool for the white kids to use to do things. Basically, we need to be able to kill it at the end. who has these nail gun bolts that you can shoot it with? Oh, the black kid does. And who does he get to shoot it? No. He's just going to deliver it to the white kids so that they can do it. And then he gets to stand in the background.
You're overanalyzing way too much.
Hey, I'm just saying, you're going to do a movie with one black kid and all he's there to do these things.
Say a lot.
I'd say he's the only black character in the entire movie, and
what you
he's
guys are
subjugated.
saying is the black kid and the Jewish kid could have just been left out.
Basically, they subjugate both those characters.
Thank you.
They subjugate both those characters, and they're the two.
That entire
biggest
discussion
minorities.
is exactly what we're
So
saying.
they're just there as a novelty type thing, and they weren't that important. So
Thank you.
the man has a point.
Okay.
I don't think the movie's intentionally racist. I'm just saying it's vaguely racist.
You're not saying it's vague at all.
It's not. No. It's vague in the sense that it's not intentional. I don't think they're doing it to be racist, but what they have done is inevitably racist.
All right. Any other? You guys like kids?
Yes.
What kid do you like?
So I would have to agree with Mike and Tyler that Ben is his name. Ben is the best actor of them.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
And
I think Eddie was the best actor.
The funny guy was definitely
Richie.
Richie.
No, Eddie.
But Eddie's better.
So Ben and Beverly, their connection with each other was way more genuine.
Yeah.
Than the connection between Beverly and the main character.
Bill.
Yeah. And I think that was the point too.
And I think that's the point.
To be fair.
But I did love the camaraderie between Richie
and Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
and Eddie. That
Perfect.
they're both butting heads and him talking about his mom and then this and that.
That's the germaphobe and the
germaphobe and the guy with the glasses.
Stranger Things.
Oh, the Stranger Things guy. Okay.
Yeah, Stranger Things guy.
So I did love that. I didn't like Mike that much because they took away his storyline, and he really wasn't that fantastic of an actor either. And then the Jewish kid really wasn't that good either. So really and truly, Matt's not wrong in the sense that those two guys are the
two
weakest,
minority characters got the least to do.
but they just weren't good actors. That's just it.
Yeah, sure.
I'd say like I said, horror-wise, Beverly had the best story for me. The only thing I disagree, I won't say what it is, but there's a third act plot device involving her, which I didn't really like.
Say it.
No.
Right.
I'll just say I felt that was a plot device in order to get characters to do something, and it came out of nowhere. It kind of broke the rules that they established. They said, Richie and Eddie's dynamic and also comedic duo was really funny. I think is it the hypochondriac is
Eddie.
Eddie? Yeah, I think he was the best performer actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Beverly would have to be my favorite storyline and favorite involvement in the horror.
For me, the best kid is easily Eddie. Eddie is the most well-rounded child in this movie. He's the smartest one. He is just the best kid in the movie. The fact that he respects his parents. When he leaves the house, he leaves the house. And
you have a time limit on your.
He leaves.
Yeah. All right.
Seriously. He leaves the house and he goes, bye, mommy, and he goes and kisses her on the cheek and he leaves. He respects his mother. When they go to do gross stuff, like go walk in the sewers, he's like, I don't want to walk and piss and shit. Like, why are you guys doing that? And they're like, no, come do it. It's fun. It's not fun. It's not fun to do that. It's gross. But he's also the best kid because when push comes to shove and you really needed him to walk in the piss and shit and be like, we need you to come help us, he goes, if you guys really need me, I'll walk in it. I'll do it. It's just that if we don't actually have to do it, I don't want to because it's gross. And that's why Eddie's the best kid. He has principles in the sense that, like, I don't want to put myself in danger. But if my friends are in danger, I will put myself in harm's way to help them because I'm a good person. That's why Eddie's the best kid. He's smart, but he's also loyal, and he's a good person.
Everyone's gone?
Well,
all right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
if you guys have anything else to say your final thoughts. Tell me if I should watch the movie right now.
I think the acting was phenomenal. I will say, so I won't say it's because she was bad. I think she was given the worst lines. The Bev character, there were some kind of hard, like rough ones, like "Come on, we have to work together." Like some of those, and like you can't pull that out and make it look convincing. It was only 2 times where I kind of like snorted, like that's okay. But the rest of it, I was like, this is
like
great.
on set while she's saying
no.
it.
No.
They're like, cut. Tyler,
is there someone snorting? Come on. Is that hilarious to you? No, like in the movie, it's just like, I don't know, it breaks me out for like an instant and then I'm back in the movie. You know, there's a few of those lines, so maybe it's more the dialogue and not the acting. But yeah, I think for me, the acting was the best. The whole working together, the talking, the gang. You know, it's all about the losers, and the losers, they pulled it. They succeeded. You know?
Gang.
Final thoughts. I liked it a lot. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot, and I was smiling beginning to end, pretty much. So,
all right. So what you want from a horror?
I had a good time. There was
Smiles,
laughs. There was a few scares. You know, good time.
All right.
Yeah, overall I enjoyed the movie. I liked the coming of age part better than the horror part, and it's a horror movie. But yeah, I thought all the acting was great, and they had some scary imagery, but followed with a booming noise, which I didn't appreciate.
Oh, you don't like?
I don't like jump scares.
For me, I think it fell true to the original. It focused on the things that I did love about the original and not the things that I didn't really like that much. So I appreciated that. I loved the camaraderie between the kids and the gang and the coming of age. And I think that there was a fair balance of real horror, which was the bullies, and the mythical horror, which is the clown. So there was fear on both aspects, because the bully really was very horrific person, the disgusting human being.
Oh yeah, he's bad.
Matt?
No, I really like the movie. I know we've talked about a lot of things I didn't like. And listen, I know that my hatred of Georgie is irrational, but I do not like him as a child because he so does not represent me as a child. That's the reason why I really feel connected to Eddie, because Eddie's the best, and I feel like I'm like him in some ways. But and again, I know I talked about how I think the movie has some vague like racist undertones to it. I don't think they're trying to be racist. I just like saying it ends up looking racist. That's what some things that happen in the movie. But at the end of the day, I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed that all the kids had this camaraderie. I enjoyed the coming of age story. As coming of age stories go, it's like one of my favorite ones that I've seen. And like, even though I got annoyed that I had to keep on watching these horror scenes that I didn't really care a lot about, it's right. Michael's right when he says that it really informs the coming of age stuff. And I really love just watching these kids come together and overcome their fears. It was really good. It was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it, even despite the things that I didn't like. And that's kind of a testament to how good the movie is.
All right, so
final verdict. Doesn't sound like this is like a scary horror movie, but horror movies don't need to be that. Halloween's coming up. This movie's been pretty big. There's a lot of hype around it. The hype's probably gonna build as Halloween comes. I'll probably watch it. I'll watch it next Tuesday when it's cheap.
Well, you know what? I will say that you should watch it, because if you liked Ghost Story, I'm sorry, this is better.
Did you watch Ghost Story?
Yes.
Oh my god, thank you.
Alright, push kids. Let's end it on that.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Alright, so that's it. Yash sounds like he's going to go see it next week.
And before you cut out, special thanks to Tyler. Thanks for coming through on this
definitely.
one.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, actually.
I love coming out to you guys.
And for the Grapevine, I'm Matt.
I'm Yash.
Andrew.
Mariana.
Still Michael.
Special guest Tyler.
Yes. And we'll see you guys next time on the Grapevine.